Steve Robbins here. Welcome to the Get It Done Guys, quick and dirty tips to work less and do more. They say that learning from books is academic, that it doesn't apply in the real world. Not always. Juanita wrote in with one of the best questions ever. I really like learning through reading and audiobooks, but I rarely make it all the way through. How can I create a course for myself so that I can actually absorb and apply the knowledge? When you read a self-help or educational book, understanding is the easy part. Understanding doesn't mean you can or will do what the book recommends. I read the South Beach Diet, then I read the North Beach Diet, then the East Beach Diet. By the time that I made it to the South by Southwest Northeast Diet, I had gained 10 pounds from munching on sugar-coated pretzels while reading the books. I hadn't applied anything I had learned. Formal classes work for a reason. They provide a framework, understanding, applying, practicing, and recalling the material. When you're reading a book, you're being given the material, but the rest is up to you. Here's how to turn your reading material into a course. Tip 1, set out a timeline and get a study group. Schedule a regular time to work on the material. Classes are effective because they're held at regular times set aside specifically for study. Oh, and get yourself a study group if you can. Find some friends. Use a site like meetup.com or Craigslist to find other people who really want to learn from the book. And then establish one night a week when you'll gather to discuss. If you're really hardcore and have the flexibility, you can schedule more nights a week. Tip 2, structure each week with new material and recall. Read a chapter or part of a chapter of the book for each class. Take notes on the main points. I recommend taking notes by hand, not by typing. Writing the material forces you to review it, and it engages your muscles in memorizing. The more of your senses, sight, touch, hearing, you can get involved, the better you'll learn. Reinforce the recall of the material you've covered so far by reviewing last week's chapter briefly. If you have a study group, discuss the previous chapter for a few minutes. Share any insights or ideas that have come up between classes, and also spend a few minutes reviewing your handwritten notes from 4 weeks before. Obviously, you can't start doing this until week 5. Reviewing information a few weeks later actually reinforces memory better than if you review it every week. Tip number 3, use exercises for applying and practicing the material. After you've learned the new material and reviewed your old material, give yourself exercises. That's your chance to practically apply what you've learned. You can do the exercise during your class time or give it to yourself as homework. If you're working your way through the Tame Your Technology chapter of my book, Get It Done Guys, 9 Steps to Work Less and Do More, your homework would be to run a week-long technology audit so you would know whether you work better with an electronic or paper to-do list. Tip number 4, get feedback on your progress. Qualifying for a green belt or a yellow belt in martial arts is feedback that you've reached a certain skill level and are ready to move to a more advanced level. Get outside feedback on your progress. A study group is a great forum for trading feedback, or you can have an outside expert join you for a meeting or two to evaluate your work. Sometimes you can test your progress yourself. If you're learning knot tying, your homework is using this week's knots to brace the giant planters on your roof deck where you grow your 6-foot-tall man-eating Audrey 2s. Test the knots by poking your Audrey 2 with a sharp stick. If the knots hold, you know you've done it right. If the knots don't hold, well, let's just call that motivation for next time. Celebrate when you master a skill or hit a major milestone. It's motivating to know you've made progress. You'd be amazed at the pride you feel when you get that green belt or don't lose your other hand to Audrey 2. Tip number 5, concentrate on vocabulary. Often, a skill has a specialized vocabulary. As you learn, make sure to jot down and remember special terms associated with it. If you're a sailor, you'll learn words like jib, tack, and prow. Weird? Yes. But try not knowing these on a sailboat. You'll be going nowhere, in circles. What's tricky is when you're learning a subject that uses everyday words to mean something different. I saw the musical Bear, a Pop Opera, and I loved it. The program said, book by John Hartmere. I wanted to read that book, so I went to my library, my bookstore, and Amazon.com. I searched for John Hartmere, but I couldn't find the novel. It turns out that in musical theater, book refers to the part of the script that isn't sung, also known as the story. Oops. Yes, I'm sure I looked silly, but My quest taught me the specialized meaning of the term, and now I've written both a book and I've co-written a musical theater book. Viva la homework. Now, Juanita, you're ready to get to work. Schedule a regular class time with a study group. Read a chapter for class, paying attention to vocabulary, and give yourself homework to apply the ideas in that chapter somewhere in your life. Get feedback on your progress and review each week's material the following week and a month later. And if you need something to serve at your study group, might I suggest deep-fried vegetable chips from the roof deck garden? They taste just like chicken. This is Steve Robbins. Email questions to getitdone@quickanddirtytips.com. I give keynote speeches that are fun and interactive on how business people can be more productive. If you want to learn more, visit steverobbins.com/speaking. Work less, do more, and have a great life.